joined by former JCW Tag Team Champions, former employees of the company. They are Jarrett Foster and the New Jersey Jewel, Steve Sterling. Welcome to the show, guys. Thank you for calling us on a Tuesday night.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for having us.
So, there's a lot of stuff going on, and we have some questions for you. We'd like you guys to clarify some of the things that have been going on, some of the things that might have been said regarding your departure from Jersey Championship Wrestling. First and foremost, I want to ask you guys, how long did you guys work for JCW?
Steve might have better memory than me. I don't know, probably a year. 2 seasons, so I don't know, year and a half. I'm the one with a bad memory. Yeah, I think it was about a year.
About a year, okay. Did you have a relationship with the president of the company, Ricky O, prior to working for the company?
Us getting involved into JCW was more through Danny DeMonto and being friends with him. I've known him for years, and then I had struck up a conversation with Danny, and this is kind of, we'll get into this in a little bit, but us getting in was more about, hey, so you're that TMZ guy. You can, bring people to our show, want to work for us. And that was a totally understood thing between me and them. It wasn't like I'm stupid and was like, no, they want me. So that's pretty much how we got involved. We had Angelina with us when we first started the first or second show. I think I was by myself the first show, and then it just led on from there when they realized that we actually had real gear and real boots and can work.
So you guys weren't backyardigans. You can actually wrestle.
Right. Right, exactly.
Okay. So your relationship started off with Danny DeMonto, TMZ. They brought you in. So most people would say, and you did say you agreed to it, you understood, that you were kind of being used for your contacts, who you knew, and ways that you can reach out to bring in people.
Well, well, first of all, let me clear the air on one thing. JCW and Glitz and Glamour no longer working together right now. The record should be set that it wasn't like this big blowout, we're walking out, we don't want to be there anymore, and it wasn't, you guys don't ever come back. It was a very mutual thing that we agreed upon, and I think, as the record would state, it was more like, we're taking some shows off because we're not having fun. And that was really how it, obviously so many things led to that, but just to, clear the air, you say, well, we were ex-employees, and first off, to me, there's no W-2 here, I'm not an employee, I'm a volunteer,
Right.
We work for whatever the hell it is we do, but whatever it is we get. But for the record, no, it wasn't like this big blowout, we're done with JCW, we want, nothing to do with the, now, in moments did we feel that way? Hands down, there's no indie promotion out there you can work for where you don't feel that.
Right.
But for the record, no, we are, would we ever go back? Are we going back? I never say never. But back on track, as far as us being brought in, it was really more, it'd be stupid not to realize JCW was on TMZ, 3-4 times with Jerry Lawler, Jake the Snake, this and that. And I'm sure in the back of people's minds, people would say, oh, but that's why they did this, or that's why they had good matches, or that's why they got the tag titles and blah, blah, blah. But little do people know, I haven't been there in, 8 months, and that's when we got our titles, and that's when we had our little brief run, and that's when, we really started getting involved, when I wasn't even with TMZ anymore. Mm-hmm. So people like to assume that me and Steve and myself were there for all these other reasons, and we're just a good hand, or we're ticket sellers, or we're this, or we're that. But the truth can't be any farther from the truth.
Okay, that's fair. We all can understand that. Now, you said you guys weren't having fun. What things caused, I mean, you didn't like, Shawn Michaels, you didn't have the smile on your face anymore. But, so why did you pull a Stone Cold and take your ball and go home?
Steve, you want to answer this one?
I had a hard time here. I didn't hear what he said.
All right. Chime in whenever I'm off topic here. Let's see. I mean, you can't have. How do I do? Okay. Here's what happened. And let me just state this to be clear. Ricky O is a piece of shit.
Oh, are we dropping names?
Ricky Otazu is a really, really, really good guy. And I say that like that for a specific reason. I get personal everywhere I go. And when I first got in, and Steve first got in, I repeated this message to him when he got in to wrestling. I'm too real. Somebody told me, somebody who actually works for WWE now, but somebody said to me, "You're too real for wrestling. Get out now." And I had no idea what the hell that meant. Now, I don't know, 6-7 years later, I understand. I get way too close with people. I take everything very personal, and I have no ability about me that can be fake. I can't hold my feelings back. I can't sit there and eat shit and like the taste of it. I don't care enough about indie wrestling and indie matches, and the best part about it is, neither does Steve. So we literally do this because obviously we love to wrestle, we love to entertain, we love to have fun. JCW is no different. We got in, we're having fun. For whatever reasons, we were having fun. We got very close to Ricky, got very close to his family, got very close to DeMonto. Everything is grand, everything's going good. It's a fun, old, grand time. Mm-hmm. When you start mixing personal with business, it's where it starts getting tricky. And, things stop becoming fun that were fun. Going to the shows, hanging out, bullshitting. I don't know what ratings are here if we can curse. But,
it's okay.
Things like that. I mean, and really, it was just little by little. I mean, I think the biggest downfall for us was too many cooks in the kitchen kind of a thing. Ricky was very close with us, so he was very much involved in our matches and what we were going to do, and we didn't mind that at all. But then, on the other side, Danny's the booker, so they would always butt heads, and things would be on the card that shouldn't have been, and things were changed last minute, and I'm really, really paraphrasing. There's so many different stories and times and details where they went at it because we were doing something different in the match than either of them wanted. And that's partly our fault, because at the end of the day, Ricky would always come to us and say, "I'm the effing owner. You listen to me." And we really didn't, just because that was said 5% of the time, and then 95% of the time for like 4 shows in a row, Danny would be booking our stuff, and it always made sense, and it was always good. But, again, so the straw that broke the camel's back, once we got personally involved, was, I think the last show we were on, it was just the process of too many cooks in the kitchen. It was like, oh, well, we planned all week for this. Well, that's not happening. This should be happening. And I don't want to give too many details just because it's like revealing too much of the nonsense of what's like, the booking part of it. Mm-hmm. And it really makes no difference what match it was. It was the idea that whatever the reason was, we were the third party. We were just the workers that said, "What do you want us to friggin' do?" And the match was changed maybe 4 times in a night. No, you're over. No, they're over. No, you're over. No, they're over. No, you're over. And we were just like, you know what? Can they please be over? Because we don't want to do this anymore. And that's how it literally felt. Because, again, personal and business. If you came in the locker room as, Ricky O in character, me and Steve at this point now, because we're so close with you and your family, we have a hard time separating Ricky Otazu from Ricky O.
Okay.
And you come into a locker room and you put us down and you belittle us and talk to us like we're children. And I think the biggest issue I had, I don't know if Steve can agree with me, I think the biggest issue I have is when you start comparing us to indie workers and typical guys and people who have been doing it for years and, make comments like, "You don't respect our belts," and this and that. I mean, that's where I get offended, because I go, first off, guys, it's a prop. Secondly, don't compare us to fat, out-of-shape workers who probably should have quit the business 10 years ago. When you start doing that, and we actually personally feel there's a good, strong friendship there, that's where it's offensive. And there was at one point, and I think Steve will tell you the same thing, we looked at each other and we're like, okay, yeah, all right, we're done.
Yeah, that was the final breaking point, that incident right there. On our last show there, that's where, like, I don't know, people go around trying to have this image that they're the tough guy in the locker room, and, they'll purposely go out of their way to put other people down in front of everyone to make it a scene. And when you can do that to us and hold something like a tag team title belt over our heads, like, oh, you should be doing what we asked because we gave you the belt and blah, 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 that's when, like you said, we're too real for that. You're not going to try, like, you know what I'm saying, Jarrett? Like,
yeah, and he's right. But really, there's more to that. I mean, and the other side of it is, I think, and the hardest part is that we know how to bullshit. We know how to play along. I get if somebody walks in the room like a Ricky and tries to make an example. Trust me, I've been made an example of more times than I can count. Somebody tries to make an example of you to prove to the other people, like, yes, I'm the owner, or yes, he's the booker, or yes, this is what you do, and respect the business, and respect this. I get what was happening. And to be very honest, 10 minutes after, personally now, back on a one-on-one personal thing, I had an awesome conversation with Ricky outside, having nothing to do with wrestling, talking about real life. And that's why I said, Ricky O as a businessman, good luck to you. Ricky O as a person, I will stand here in front of a bullet for him if it had to happen, because, again, there's many things. I mean, again, if I called or Steve called Ricky right now, I'm not trying to, play devil's advocate, but in a sense, I have to be honest. If I called him right now and said, I need you, or he called me and said, I need you or my family needs you, the respect is there.
Right.
And the same thing goes for DeMonto. The respect is there. Are they assholes? Absolutely, you can't. I think they would admit it themselves. At times, are they scumbags? Probably more times than not. But at the end of the day, we sit here and we do a radio show talking about it, and people are going to come on, and people did, and people will. And now, Kevin, I ask you this because I would say that outside of this ridiculous business, you're just as real as we are.
Right.
Isn't that what wrestling, the wrestling business is? And honestly, I've thought about this call for like 3 days, and I thought, well, I can go on there, and Steve can go on there, and we can just, I mean, I can tell you personal stories or professional stories and blow people out of the water. But at the end of the day, it's wrestling. This is wrestling. This is such a stupid business. And we get so emotionally wrapped up and involved. And now, again, your story, right? And getting on, not switching the attention off of us, but your story. Steve heard that story. I heard that story about the, thing with whatever the hell is the dinosaur guy. What the hell's his name? Brodus Clay. Now, when I heard that story, originally, I heard it from the other side.
Right.
And the way it was explained, immediately I go, oh, God, Steve. Kevin's getting the shaft, and obviously he ain't wrong. And it wasn't even a half a second when we said, how did this one get messed up from the office side to Kevin's side? Because, again, we know you as a person, we've done business with them, something must have been off.
Right.
And then hearing your side of it, I go, well, now it makes sense. Now it makes total sense. But, and I'm going to throw a butt out here, and maybe I'm wrong for throwing a butt out here. On your story and talking about Danny and talking about this, and me and you had this combo too after the fact.
Right.
I think it really was a big misunderstanding and miscommunication.
I
mean that is obvious. But
I do.
And that was clear because, again, on the business side of it, I would say, well, Kevin, you're an idiot for thinking that these guys would ever just bring you in and throw money at you because you're a nice guy and gave them radio press. That's not how these guys work. You were just too naive and nice, and you were like, cool. I get it. That makes sense. You're too naive and too nice. Now I understand. But now, in the hindsight, I'm sure you look back and go, I should have known. They were trying to cover the cost of the loss because they were expecting one.
Right.
So when you told me the story, I said, if that's really how it went down, no, it was never said that you would eat the loss, but it had to have been understood.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't like